Hello, everyone. Sorry for delay. Whew, our speaker with us. We have some technical problems. So sorry, guys. Okay. I think you're well. I sure you're doing well. Okay. We have a new talk. Let me introduce our speaker. It's Galina Yermolenko. Galina Yermolenko is professor in EPAM education, kids training, and team leader. And now Galina has will share her experience and tell us about fairy tale, how uh, how to build a house. Galina, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, Galina, I hear you. I hear you.
Okay,
Can
now
you share
let
your screen?
me,
Mhm.
yes, let me just share my screen and start the presentation. And please let me know if you can see the presentation.
Yeah, I see very well.
Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to our event. My name is Galina, and I've been working in testing science 2010. And over the past 5 years, I've been focusing not only on testing itself, but also on improving both testing processes and project processes as well. During this time, I've worked on a variety of projects, from large ones with over 25 teams and smaller with 2 or 3 teams. I have 3 children, and I often read them fairy tales. So this inspired me to create today's presentation. It based on well-known Russian fairy tale about how animals decided to spend winter in a forest and build a house for themselves. But from original fairy tale, there are only a bull, ram, cat, pig, and rooster. The rest has been adopted to reflect modern project management realities. Today, I will simply read the story from the slides, so you're welcome to read it together with me. On this slide, you can see the list of chapters, so you know right away what the story will cover. And for people who are watching the recording, feel free to skip ahead and open the chapter you are interested in. And if you're looking for some short summary, you can just check out the chapter advice in the end of each chapter. Um, so let's begin. Chapter 1: How the animals decided to build a house. Once upon a time in a forest, there lived 5 friends: Bull, Ram, Pig, Cat, and Rooster. One day, as the wind grew colder and the leaves began to fall, the friends gathered and decided, "Winter is coming, and we need to build a house where we can all stay warm and cozy." But how could they build a house when none of them had ever done it before? Then Cat, the smartest and the most thoughtful of them, said, "Let's first think about why we need a house, what it should have." Build, Boo said, "The house must be sturdy so it can withstand any wind." Ram added, "And it should be spacious so there enough room for everyone." Pig suggested, "We definitely need a stove to cook food and keep warm." Rooster exclaimed, "And I want the house to have a window so I can watch the sunrise." Cat wrote everything down, and so the animals created a list of requirements. Chapter advice: before starting anything, it's important to understand why you're doing it and to agree on goals and tasks with your team. Chapter 2: How the animals assigned roles. When the list of requirements was ready, Cat said, "Now we need to decide who will be responsible for what. And most importantly, we need to design for the house." The friends looked at each other, unsure what to do. None of them had ever built a house before. Just then, all flew in. I heard you are building a house, said O. I would be happy to help you. The animals were overjoyed and immediately invited O to join their team. Next, they assigned roles and responsibility as follows. Cat would be the project manager because he was organized and good at planning. O would design the house and provide the guidance on how to build it. Pooh and Ram would handle the heavy construction work, building the walls and roof. Pig would focus on safety and build the stove to keep the house warm. Rooster would be the QA specialist, responsible for checking that everything was done correctly. All drew a table on a large sheet of paper showing who was responsible for each task. She called it a racy matrix and explained, this will help everyone understand their roles and avoid confusion. Now the animals felt much more confident as they had clear responsibility and an expert to guide them. Chapter advice. Clear assign role and responsibility, and don't hesitate to seek help from experts. We can spend several seconds. You can look for the table and check how they distribute responsibilities. Anyway, I think you'll be able to see the recording if you want to back, and we just proceed for next chapter. Mm, Chapter 3. How the animals made a plan. Now that the roles were assigned, Cat said, let's make a plan so we know what to do and when to do it. The friends gathered around and started discussion the steps. They decided. First, they should clear the area of the house. Then, they would build the walls and roof. After that, Pig would build the stove. Finally, Rooster would check everything to make sure the house was ready. Or have them draw a timeline on a large sheet of paper showing how long each task would take and in what order they should be done. What if we don't finish on time? Asked Rooster. Then we will review the plan and adjust it, replied Cat. All added. It's important to stick to the plan, but also be flexible if something unexpected happens. The animals felt ready to start their work, knowing they had a clear roadmap to follow. Chapter advice. Always create a plan before starting work, but be prepared to adjust it if something don't go as expected. Okay, next, chapter 4. How all designed the house and the team decided to build an MVP. They all, as the architect, got to work, and after some time, she showed the team her design. Here, take a look, said O. This will be your house. She explained her design in details. The walls will be thick and sturdy to support even the heaviest resident pool, and the window will face east, so you can enjoy the sunrise every morning, just as Rooster wanted. The design also included a basement for storing supplies, a separate room for each of us, and a large kitchen with a stove. The friends were thrilled as they looked at the drawing. This is amazing, exclaimed Rooster. Yes, it's going to be a real palace, added Ram. But Cat thought carefully. He studied the drawing and then said, oh, your design is wonderful, but we have one problem. Winter is coming soon, and we simply won't have enough time to build such a big house. Let's build an MVP, a minimal valuable product. We will start with one shared room with a stove. We'll make the walls strong enough so that next year we can add doors and build separate rooms. All noted. That's a smart decision. The most important thing is to build a warm and sturdy house before winter arrives. The friends agreed with this plan. They decided to focus on building only what was absolutely necessary to survive the winter, leaving the rest for later. Chapter advice. Um, if time or resources are limited, focus on creating an MVP, minimum viable product. Build only what is essential to achieve your main goal and leave improvements for the future. Chapter 5. How Rooster planned testing and quality. Rooster, responsible for quality, was impressed by how all had considered all their requirements. The east facing window, as she had asked, and the thick walls to support the heaviest resident pool. She thought through every details, Rooster reflected. But what if she had made a mistake? For example, forgotten the window or made the walls too thin? The entire project could have gone wrong. Rooster realized that mistakes could happen even at the design stage and decided that testing should start as early as possible, even before construction began. He gathered the team and proposed a test strategy, which described how to test. And here we have several points from this strategy. Codify functional and non functional requirements, for example, for fire safety. Check documentation, for example, design created by all. Prepare a checklist based on requirements, comparison with requirements, ensure the house match the agreed upon specification. Check materials before starting work. For example, work should be inspected for strength before building the walls. Stage by stage checks before moving forward. For instance, walls should be inspected before starting on the roof, involving everyone in testing. For example, only Boo could verify if the walls could support his wife. Um, and one more thing, added Rooster. We need to agree on how we will know the work is complete. This is called definition of done. They decided the work would be considered complete if it meets all mentioned points, and they decided several points. All tasks were completed by the builders, all quality gates were successfully passed, all critical defects were fixed, all construction waste was cleaned up. As a part of the strategy, Rooster defined quality gates, checkpoints that must be passed before moving to the next stage. To ensure clarity, Rooster created a test plan outlining what, who, and when would be tested. If we follow these rules, said Rooster, our house will be strong, warm, and cozy. The team agreed that this approach would help avoid mistakes and rework. Chapter advice. Develop a testing strategy and create a test plan to know what and when to check. Introduce checkpoints, quality gates at each stage, and define clear criteria for completion, definition of done. This will ensure everything is done correctly and meets the requirements. Next chapter. Chapter 6. How Cat planned risk management. Construction had begun, and the friends enthusiastically got to work. Pooh and Ram were cutting logs for the walls. Pig was preparing bricks for the stove, and Rooster was checking to ensure everything followed the plan. But suddenly, raindrops started falling from the sky. Rain! Exclaimed Rooster. What do we do now? The rain was brief and didn't affect the construction, but Cat, as an experienced manager, started to think, if this happens more often, it could slow down our work. And what if other problems arise that we haven't anticipated? Cat decided to create a risk management strategy to be prepared for any unexpected challenge. He wrote down all the risks and their strategies in the table so the team could quickly respond if something went wrong. Chapter advice. Always think about potential risks and their consequences. Assess the likelihood and impact of each risk and develop strategies to prevent or minimize them. This will help avoid unexpected problems and keep the work on track. Okay, several seconds to pay attention to the table. Please read it by yourself. Okay, let's proceed. Next, chapter 7. How the animals face their first conflict and define defect priority. When the walls, doors, and windows were finished, Rooster began testing how everything worked. He went to check if the windows opened easily, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't open one of them. The window won't open, Rooster exclaimed. This needs to be fixed immediately. He called Ram, who had been responsible for installing the window. Ram came over, tried the window, and easily opened and closed it. It works fine, said Ram. You just don't know how to open windows. No, this is a defect, replied Rooster. If I can't open the window, others might have the same problem. It's not a defect, argued Ram. Everything is fine. The argument grew louder until Cat stopped it. Stop, said Cat. Let's figure this out. Cat listened carefully to both sides. He tried opening the window himself and realized that it did open, but with a bit of effort. This is not a critical defect, Cat concluded. The window works, but it can be improved later. Right now, our main goal is to finish the house before winter. Rooster agreed, but suggested we need to define which defects are critical and must be fixed immediately, and which can be addressed later. Cat supported the idea, and together they created a table to prioritize defect fixes. Now we have clear criteria, said Cat. This will help us avoid wasting time on minor issues while focusing on what's most important. Rooster and Ram shook hands, and the conflict was resolved. Chapter advice. Define priorities for fixing defects. Categorize them as a critical, medium, or low to focus on the most important issues. This will help avoid conflict and keep the project on track. Next chapter. How animals finish the project and how the retrospective. When the house was finally completed, the animals gathered to celebrate, but before it, Cat suggested, let's hold a retrospective. Let's discuss what went well and what could have been done better. This will help us in the future. Everyone shared their thoughts. What went well? The stove is amazing. It hurts so well that even on the coldest days we will be warm, said Boo. Thanks to Rooster's testing strategy, all critical defects were fixed quickly, which helped avoid serious problems, said Cat. The east facing window is my favorite feature of the house. Now I can watch the sunrise every day, just as I dreamed, said Rooster. What could be improved? I was constantly interrupted with plans, discussions, and checks. I could have worked faster if I hadn't been distracted so often, said Trump. There were delays in the schedule, which means I couldn't conduct my checks on time, said Rooster. We were delayed by 3 weeks. Next time we need to plan better, collect metrics to adjust plans more quickly, and prioritize tasks. Cat. There was something a lack of clear communication within the team. Then when I was designing, I wasn't always informed about new changes to the plan, said O. In the initial plan, the work between me and Ram wasn't clearly divided. Next time, we need to distribute tasks more clearly, said Boo. And they together decided next action item. Build a team communication plan and regular meeting at regular meeting and time protected from meetings. And this action item was assigned to Cat. So, chapter advice. After completing a project, always hold retrospective, discuss what went well, what could be improved, and draw a conclusion for future projects. This will help your team become stronger and more effective. Chapter 9. How the animals plant new improvement. Winter was cold, but the new house was warm and cozy. The friends sat by the stove and discussed what else they could improve. We need separate rooms so everyone has their own space, said Ram. And I want an attic to store supplies, added Pig. We should also bring in water so we don't have to run to the stream, suggested Rooster. And furniture, exclaimed Bull. Tables, chairs, beds, everything we need for comfort. Cat wrote down all the ideas and all began drawing a new plan. She proposed a design that includes separate rooms, an attic, plumbing, and furniture. But this is a big project, said all. We won't be able to finish everything in a spring and summer. We need to prioritize. Cat, as a manager, suggested. Let's start with the most important things separate rooms and the attic. The rest can't wait until next year. The friends agreed, and all updated the plan accordingly. Chapter advice. Always prioritize tasks to focus on what's most important. This helps avoid overloading the team and ensure the project is completed on time. Next chapter. How the squirrels joined the project. In the spring, as construction began, a group of squirrels came to the house. They were friendly and offered to move into the attic. We will supply you with nuts and mushrooms, said the squirrels, and we will help you with the construction. The friends thought about it and decided that the squirrels' help would be valuable. Cat, as a manager, created an onboarding plan for the new members of the project. First, we will explain to the squirrels how we work, said Cat. Then we will assign them tasks so they can start contributing right away. The squirrels quickly adopted. They helped carry materials, gathered supplies, and even participated in the construction. They're so quick and efficient, said Boo. It's great to have them on the team. To ensure everything went smoothly, Kat also created a plan in case someone left the project. If one of us can't continue working, we will redistribute the tasks among the rest of the team, he explained. The squirrels proved to be a great addition to the team, and their help made the work go faster. Chapter advice. When new members join the project, create an onboarding plan and help them quickly adopt and start contributing. Additionally, have a contingency plan in case someone leaves the project so the work can continue without delays. Next chapter. How the animals develop success metrics. To ensure the project success, Cat suggested tracking metrics. They choose the three most important ones. Task completion. How many tasks the team completes according to plan. This helps determine how effectively they are working and whether they can complete what was planned on time. Work quality, the number of defects found and fixed during the process. The fewer defects, the better. For each defect, they tried to identify its root cause and decide what actions to take to prevent similar issue in the future. Team satisfaction. The squirrel suggested conducting surveys to find out if team members were happy with the process and the results. If we monitor this metric, said Cat, we'll be able to spot problems early and improve our process. Chapter advice. Choose metrics that help you evaluate efficiency, quality, and team satisfactions. They are the keys to a successful project. Um, Next chapter. How the animals started to use Scrum or something similar to Scrum. After the winter, Cat read a few books about project management processes and he became interested in the Scrum methodology. He decided to try implementing the elements that seems most useful to him. After the first hour retrospective, I have an action item to improve our communication. Here's my plan, said Cat. And here you can see the plan which Cat built for the team. Cat held up a piece of paper and explained, we will work in sprint and each sprint will last 1 week. At the beginning of the sprint, we will plan our tasks. And at the end, we will hold a retrospective and look at metrics results. Every day, we will have short daily meetings where everyone will share what they accomplished yesterday, what they have, if they have any problems or need help, what they plan to do today. This will help us adjust our plans immediately if something goes wrong. For example, if Rooster finds a critical defect, we can quickly shift our focus to fixing it. Cat also added, we will have a clear lunch break so everyone can rest and recharge. After lunch, we will avoid any discussion to allow everyone to focus on their work without distractions. Great idea, said Rooster. Especially the part about no discussion after lunch, added Bull, who had been constantly interrupted by conversation while building the house last summer. Cat continued. We also need someone to make decisions about task priorities. For example, deciding wherever it's more important to build furniture or fix the window that Rooster still can't open. And I suggest that Vice O take on this role. She will be our product owner. The friends agreed and updated the racing matrix to include O's new responsibilities. Chapter advice. Scrum or its elements can significantly improve team performance. Regular short meetings help quickly identify problems and adjust plans. Clear role distribution, such as having a product owner, ensure effective prioritization. Don't forget to balance work and rest to keep the team productive and motivated. Next chapter, how the animals added regression testing and maintenance. As construction progressed, Rooster suggested we need to make sure that new changes don't break that we have already built. This is called regression testing. The friends agreed, and Rooster began testing the walls, windows, and stove every time something new was added and could lead to new issue. We also need to maintain what we already have, added Pig. For example, cleaning the stove and checking the condition of the roof. Cat created a maintenance plan to ensure that everything worked as intended and to avoid unexpected issues while think that were already functioning with things that were already functioning. Chapter advice. Regression testing ensures that new changes don't break existing functionality. A maintenance plan guarantees that everything will continue to work reliable over time. Next chapter, how the Tin Woodman became part of the team. While I continued to read books about project management, Kat came across a mention of the Tin Woodman and artificial intelligence. The idea of having a helper who could perform complex tasks and speed up the work seems very interesting. If we find such a helper, it could significantly ease our workload, thought Kat. He set out on a search and, in one forest, met the Tin Woodman. Hello, said Kat. I have heard you are skilled at working with trees. Yes, that's true, replied the woodman. I can identify which trees are best for construction and process them quickly. But if you teach me something new, I would be happy to help with that too. Cat invited the woodman to join the team, and he agreed. Then they returned. Cat introduced him to the team. This is the Tin Woodman, said Cat. He'll be helping us with the construction. At first, the woodman proved to be very useful. He quickly processed trees, helped with construction, and even suggested optimal ways to complete tasks. But sometimes he made strange mistakes. Why did he do it like that? wondered Rooster when the woodman, instead of cutting a log, started polishing it. Most likely the task wasn't clearly explained, suggested Ram. He doesn't understand when he needs to ask clarifying questions and just does exactly what he's told. That means we can't fully trust him, added Pig. We need to keep an eye on him. The team decided they needed to give the woodman clear instruction. They began formulating tasks in as much detail as possible to avoid misunderstanding. For example, if we want him to cut a log, we need to specify how many pieces and what length, explained Cat. The Tin Woodman turned out to be very helpful. He sped up the construction by handling routine tasks and freed up time for the team to focus on more complex work. However, despite his contribution, the team decided not to add him to the racing matrix. He doesn't take responsibility for the results, said Cat. It's still our job to ensure everything is done correctly. The Tin Woodman became an important part of the team, but the friends always remembered that his work depends on how well they define the task for him. Chapter advice. If you use helpers like artificial intelligence, it's critical to provide clear instruction. Remember that the responsibility for the result remains with you. Helpers can speed up the work, but you need to monitor their actions and make adjustments as needed. And this is the end. So, thank you very much for your attention. Maybe we have some questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Galina. It was really, really fun and really interesting and useful, I think. It's a new format, yes? Okay, guys. If you have any questions, please. Let's wait a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Maybe
Oh, maybe,
someone get asleep as my kids when they read
maybe.
books.
Galina perhaps you described everything very well and clearly. And guys have no question. Okay. Uh, okay.
We can finish early if there
No,
is no
no.
questions. Maybe for someone, it's easier to watch recording to pay more attention
Uh-huh,
for
uh-huh.
tables, for
Yes,
additional
yes.
content.
Uh-huh. And guys, if you need this presentation, you can contact with Galina or with me for this presentation. Yes. And guys, a small announcement. In the near future, I will describe a new talk, and the most actively participant will receive the coins from our community, and in the end of the year, uh, the most activity participant receive a gift from our community.
Sounds cool.
Yes, it's a deal. Okay. Oh, Galina. um, Great approach. Mm, and guys, very happy. Please see what guys talk about you.
Thank you,
Great,
thank you.
great, great, great. Thank you, Galina. Thank you. It's very a new approach, new format. Okay, guys.
Yeah,
So,
yes, you can share this story with your kids if you want to
yes, I
explain
show.
them
Yeah,
what the project is, what the process is.
how I just joined. I show. Uh, mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it's
It's
difficult to
our,
find
yeah.
the proper
Mhm.
time for everyone. So suppose many people will watch recording.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Uh, so, if you have no question, maybe see you
Okay.
next talk.
Thank you everyone for joining. If you have some kind of questions, you can address them to me directly. Not everything was included in this presentation because I thought it will be too long, but we was able to finish early. That's great. So we have additional time for a cup of tea or something like that. So enjoy your day, enjoy your time.
Thank you, Galina. Thank you,
Bye
guys.
bye.
Bye bye. See you next talk.